Yeah, the good folks at Campbell Safety Consulting. Doubles.
Oh,
you're in a jersey and a hat.
And a hat.
It's that time.
Wow.
It's that time. We're about a week away from camp, so I'm getting excited, man.
You sure you're not doing something for the Riders store? Some sort of photo shoot today over a Zoom? Now, we had your buddy on the show Friday, Mr. Kerry Joseph. Curtis thought we should start our segment with this from Friday.
Hey, I know we was talking about Darian Durant, Double D, and that's my guy, man. You don't understand too. I was proud to see him wear number 4, and to go on and have the career he had. And I didn't have to say much to him because he was a student of the game, and he just watched the way we work, and to see what his career turned out to be. Boom, much love to you, Doubles.
Pretty nice stuff. Your rebuttal, sir.
That's my guy, man. I mean, from the time I got to Saskatchewan in 2006, he pretty much just took me under his wing. I mean, I don't know what it was about me, but you don't get a lot of veteran guys to, just drag a youngster along and make him study and make sure he's a student of the game. And he did that along with Marcus Crandall, but Kerry especially. And Kerry had a relationship with Tommy Condell, who was our OC at the time. And between the two of those guys, man, just introducing me to the CFL game, I definitely wouldn't have made it a step past 2007 if it wasn't for Kerry Joseph.
And how cool is that? He gets hired by Steve Sarkisian to be part of that Texas staff. That's like winning the Super Bowl in college football when you're going to one of the top 5 schools in America. Kudos to Kerry Joseph, man. That is a much coveted job to be on Sark's staff.
Absolutely, man. That's just his hard work. I mean, he goes from the Seattle Seahawks to the Chicago Bears, and now he's with the Texas Longhorns. I mean, just 3 outstanding jobs to have. So, that's just a testament to his hard work and the relationships he's built over time.
I encourage people to go back and listen to it in podcast or watch it on YouTube. It was a great interview. Maybe ran a little bit long, but we couldn't stop talking to the guy. Now, Darian, the thing that we forget about Kerry Joseph is McNeese State, great career. He cup of coffee in the NFL, but he doesn't cut it as a quarterback. So then Washington says, hey, you know what? Got an idea here. Why don't you come play running back? And he's like, all right. Yeah. And then that doesn't work. And then Seattle, because he goes through the story on how people were tied together. Seattle goes, no. We got an idea. Come play safety for us.
Right.
Like in the NFL. And then he came up to Canada after and tore it up as a quarterback. Like just a great story.
That just shows you what type of athlete he was. I mean, for a team not to want to cut you and see you go completely, to just say, man, he's such a great athlete, let's just try to put him at another position to get him on the field. I mean, that just shows you, how he's built. And even when he came back to the Riders when he was 40, I think he was 42 at the time, he was just ripped, man, just in perfect shape. So he's just that type of guy.
What other position would Darian Durant be able to play?
Nothing. I've never played anything else. I guess I just wasn't
quarterback
good
diva.
enough athlete.
Quarterback diva and nothing else. It's funny with training camp. Rookie camp opens on Wednesday, and we laughed when we were on the show. This was months ago. We asked you when you first came up, and what did you tell us? Do you have 1 pair of sweats and 2 pairs of jeans, or 2 pairs of sweats and 1 pair of jeans, and no jacket to come to Saskatchewan?
No jacket. Had no idea it would still be cold in May. It's crazy.
The plaza today, right? The class and last year that was you. Was it last year? Yeah.
Last year,
what does that mean? Chris Best, the guy that and also Alex Smith Sr., a guy you know.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good run. I mean, to see Chris come in, and especially him being from Duke, and if you're from the States, you know that North
Yeah.
Carolina and Dukies, we just don't get along. But, just to see him grow and just to see what he turned into, the monster of an offensive lineman, just the beast that he was, man, I couldn't be, more proud of Chris. One of my good friends, even to this day, we still communicate. Duke and North Carolina play each and every year. He'll send me a text and we'll put a little wager on it all the time. So he's still my guy, man, and well deserving. And then with, Alex Sr., what a guy. Just the nicest guy you'll ever want to be around. Just a testament of longevity, not going for always the shinier position, but wanting to stay somewhere where you're comfortable, you're loved, and he's just a prime example of loyalty, man. So to see, some guys that I work with, some colleagues of mine go in, it's just amazing.
We had Jeremy O'Day on in hour number one, and I asked him the question, is there anything that you can say to a player coming up to Canada to be in a new country, in a new league, on a new team with new rules and a field they've never played on before? Is there any pep talk or speech? And he said, well, the coaches try and get you as prepared as possible, but for a lot of guys, their whole world's going to be upside down, but they're going to have a jersey on and cleats, and they're going to be expected to perform come Wednesday morning at about 9:30 at Griffith Stadium. You've been through that. How hard is that as a professional athlete?
It's extremely hard. I mean, but like J.O. said, the one thing you can lean on is putting on those cleats and putting that helmet on and getting on that football field. That's what you've been doing your entire life. That's what you're comfortable with. Don't worry about your surroundings. I mean, we're all in unfamiliar territory. Even some of the veteran guys who've played on other teams, yeah, they've been in Canada, but being in Saskatoon, the travel, no one, it's going to be unfamiliar for 90% of the guys. So the thing you know how to do is play football, focus on that playbook and making sure that you can impress these coaches when it's time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And do they kind of find out pretty quickly on the, cerebral players, the guys that can really absorb a playbook?
Absolutely. Look, the installation that goes in during training camp, it's already broken down by the coaches, right? They know that there's some veteran guys in the room, but you still have to install the offense as if no one has ever heard of any of the terminology. So you'll know within the first day or two who's good at picking up the offense, who's good at retaining information, or who just doesn't get it at all. And the CFL game may not be for them. I mean, there's some athletes who come in, they're hell of an athlete. They're great athletes. They're fast. They can do everything, but they can't play fast because they don't know what to do. They don't understand the playbook. They don't know spacing. So you'll know very, very quickly the guys who are like sponges who can soak up the information and be able to retain it and transfer it over to the field.
Who's one guy that comes to mind from your days that was that sponge?
Oh, wow. Getzlaff. I mean, Getty was just, if you look at Getty in a meeting, he wouldn't have his head in the book. He wouldn't be taking notes. He's just one of those guys that could just retain the information just when the coach just gets up and writes it on the board. He can just remember these things. Some guys just have that gift. They don't have to prepare really. They don't have to take any notes. Getty just had that knack for being able to hold on to that information. And even if he was asked a question by a rookie or a coach who thinks that Getty's not paying attention, he could just go down the answer like, he was giving out the tutorial. So it's just crazy to see how he was just able to retain everything that he learned.
That's that Regina schooling system, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable work that they do here.
Oh man, don't pick on my guy Getty like that.
No. It's all good. Hey, no, I know people close to me are in the education system here, so I'm treading lightly. Hey, the draft. We haven't talked to you since the draft. Curtis Rourke at 3. Talked to O'Day in hour 1. We're gonna play that again. Really good comment because he's like, yeah, no, he was there, and we thought, well, maybe if he was at this play, and then he's like, some people are, of course, going to say, well, I shouldn't have taken him so high, but third pick, it's not like it was first, And it's maybe, right? I think the kid's going to play in the CFL, personally. What do I know? How do you like that? Or what do you think about that pick, Darian?
Yeah, I think at some point he'll definitely be up in the CFL, given the quarterback class that he came out in, and just the amount of good players in that class. It's going to be tough for him to crack a roster with the big names and the guys that were drafted ahead of him. So I don't think it's a overreach for that position. I mean, if he's a great player. He's a ratio breaker, and he's a guy that can produce. So, we'll see how it goes. Sometimes, a lot of folks may say that picking a quarterback, that high or in the first round is a gamble. But like I said, if you look at the class he came out with, then just so many good quarterbacks in it, it'll be hard for him to crack an NFL roster over those guys.
Rookie camp opens on Wednesday at Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon. Then main camp will open on the weekend. I'm intrigued. I think as Rider fans, we got to be prepared. There could be some guys that we're familiar with that aren't going to make the club this year from either its performance or guys they are bringing in to push them. Because as you know, Darian, the ugly side of this business is business. A rookie contract is a lot better on the books than a guaranteed vet contract and all that. And money's money, and salary cap is important. I know that the Riders signed a returner on the weekend saying that he could be pushing Mario Alford and in spots like that. Do you want, as the general manager of this team, Darian, everybody pushed at every position at camp to get the absolute best out of everybody?
Absolutely. That's the only way to go. Look, this is the most competitive sport out there, and you have to have the best 12 guys on the field, no matter their contractual situation, no matter their age. It doesn't even matter. You just want the best guys on the field. And I wouldn't say that as a GM or as a front office guy, you're hoping to push out a higher paid guy, but it definitely helps if your replacee is can come out and produce. So at the same time, I think that this is just a great opportunity for everyone to get out there and showcase their abilities, their talents. And the unfortunate part is guys are going to lose their jobs. Guys are going to have to go home, and they're going to lose that dream that they've always had of playing professional football. That's just the sad part of it. But you definitely want to be pushed at every single position. You don't want anyone to be comfortable, especially a team that's knocking on the door of a Grey Cup appearance. You want to be pushed at every single position.
Is there a position, a group that you are intrigued about going into camp this year?
You know what? I want to see, what AJ Ouellette in that running back position, in that running back group, what they can do. I think that, in order to, if you look at just the recipe that Winnipeg shows you every single year with Brady Oliveira, and, when it gets cold and it gets windy, it's time to bring out that guy that's kind of like your snowplower. I want to see what the run game can do this year. I don't want to see Trevor throwing the ball 30 or 40 times every single game. I want the Riders to be able to turn around, hand it off to a guy. Even when the defense knows you're running the ball, he can get you 3, 4, 5 yards, crucial second and short conversions that you're going to need late in the season. The run game is just so huge. And Winnipeg's been showing you the recipe over the past 5, 6 years that if you can have that run game, control the clock, that there's success behind it. So I want to see how that running back position does.
Darian, you mentioned closing late in the season. For me, I'm curious like you, this running game, but I want to see it early and have them be able to dominate and close out games. So if we do have a lead, we aren't punting the ball and giving that other, giving somebody the ball back with 45 seconds left to come down and score, to close out games like Winnipeg has done. Like you said, once the Brady Oliveira show starts, it's pretty hard to stop. That's where I think a lot of us as Rider fans want to see that dominant. Like, it's funny, we talked about Chris Best. I don't know, other than what we saw on TV, but it seemed like he played mean. And even in his comments, he talked about how him and Ben Heenan in the Grey Cup, they were like dominating guys on their side of the line, and they were trucking guys over with gaping holes to get through. That was the kind of dominance that I think a lot of us want to see, to be like, all right, close this out. Don't even give the ball back. Go and run it down their throat and kneel it down. Game over.
Absolutely, you need that. And, too many times I think the Riders found themselves last year in a 2nd and 5 or a 2nd and 4 situation, and you're throwing the ball. And, it's very low percentage at that point. And if you can turn the ball, turn around and hand it off to a guy who, even if he gets you 3 yards on 2nd and 4, you put yourself in a manageable 3rd down conversion situation. So, you need to have a run game. And also, I think it helps in the red zone. The Riders have shown that they can move the ball up and down the field, but they settle for way too many field goals when you get in scoring position. So having a guy that you can turn around and hand it off to will definitely be able to put some touchdowns on the board. So I'm very excited to see that. And I think, Jeremy, as a former old lineman, he understands that. And, he'll make the necessary changes and everything needed to make sure that run game is a go.
All right, Doubles. Camp starts later this week. Exciting stuff. You got your gear on. You're excited.
Absolutely. Ready for camp, man.
We don't
ready.
Have to tell you. I love it. All right. Let's catch up next Monday.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.